is a force between multiple charges. So for this case you have to consider uh, number of charges more than 2. Now for that you have to apply principle of superposition. So we will see what is principle of superposition. Now let us consider three charges, namely q1, q2 and q3, and say we are going to calculate the force experiences by q1 due to q2 and q3. Then how will we apply this principle? What is superposition principle? The force experiences by q1 due to q2 plus force experiences by q1 due to q3. This is how to calculate the total force experiences by q1. Now you can see the expression here. Here it is F1. F1 is the force experiences by q1. That is the total force. Total force experiences by q1 due to q2 and q3. For that, how can I write the expression? F1 is equal to F12, that means force experiences by q1 due to q2 plus F13 force experiences by q1 due to q3. Just now you have learned how to write expressions for F12 and F13. So it appears to be like this. You can see this, and then you can calculate the magnitude of force experiences by q1 due to both the charges. For problems, you can see the page number 15, 16 and 17 in your textbook, and you can see the examples 1.6 and 1.7. Next point is electric field intensity, and normally we say it as electric field also. In class 10 standard you have learned that when a charged particle is at rest, the region around the charged particle is full of electric field, and that electric field can be represented by drawing electric field lines. Fine. So now how will you define electric field? Okay, for that you have to consider a charged particle at rest. Let that charged particle be small q, and small q we consider as the source charge. That means it is the source of electric field. Now let us consider a point near to that source charge at which you want to find the electric field. So for that, what you have to do, you have to bring another charge to that point. Say example, that charge is q naught here, and here q naught is called the test charge. That means it is used for testing. So if you bring a test charge to that point, then that test charge will experience some force. What is the amount of force experiences by that test charge? That is a measure of electric field at that point. So electric field E is equal to limit q naught tends to 0 F by q naught. F is the force experiences by q naught. Fine. So F by q naught is the measure of electric field at that point. Q naught tends to 0. That means the q naught charge on that test charge should be negligibly small, such that it does not apply any appreciable force on the source charge. Now SI unit of electric field, you can see it is for force it is Newton, for charge it is Coulomb, so Newton per Coulomb. Or we will learn that we can express the unit as vol per meter also, and you will see the dimensional formula to be ml t to the power minus 3 a to the power minus 1. Please check it. You have already learned in class 11 how to write the dimensional formula. You know the dimensional formula of force, you know the dimensional formula of charge. So let us find it whether it is true or not. It is of course a vector quantity, and you see, and its direction is in the direction of the electric force acting on positive charge. That we will discuss later in details. Next is properties of electric field lines. So we'll see one by one. First property is field lines show a continuous curve without having any breakage in a charge free region. So if you consider an isolated positive charge, electric field lines start at the positive charge and end up at infinity. So there cannot be any breakage. That means electric field extends up to infinity. Similarly, for negative charge, electric field lines start at the infinity and end up at the negative charge. So we will learn how to draw electric field lines for isolated positive or negative charge, even for different charge symmetries. Then this point will be clear to you. Next is two lines never cross each other. So it is magnetic field line also. You have learned this point while discussing the properties of magnetic field lines. Now you have learned how to draw magnetic direction of magnetic field at a point on a magnetic field line. A similar way in case of electric field also, you have to draw a tangent at that point at which you have to find the electric field. So if I give you electric field line, so at a point, if you want to find the direction of electric field, you have to draw a tangent at that point. So two lines never cross each other. That means if they do so at the point of intersection, there will be two directions of electric field, which is not allowed. Okay. Number 3, these electric field lines start on the positive charge and end in the negative charge. So for a pair of positive and negative charge, if you want to draw electric field lines, then you will see that from the positive charge the field lines have to come out and they have to enter there in the negative charge. And number 4 is electrostatic field lines do not form any closed loops, like you have seen in magnetic field lines. Magnetic field lines form closed loops, like outside the bar magnetic field lines, they are moving from north to south, and inside it is from south to north, so they form closed loops. Now in case of electric field lines, they do not form any closed loop, because already we have discussed point number 1 and point number 3. So this point you can understand in terms of point number 1 and point number 3, which we have already discussed. Next is electric field at a point due to a point charge. Now let us consider a source charge. I told you already what is source charge. Here Q is the source charge because it is producing the electric field. And let us consider a point P at a distance r from the source charge. Here at point P we are going to find the electric field, okay, magnitude of electric field at this point. Now as you have learned the definition of electric field, to find electric field at that point P, what you have to do, we have to put a test charge at that point P and we will try to find the force experiences by Q naught at this point. Now what is the amount of force experiences by Q naught at this point P is a measure of electric field at that point. So let us first calculate the force experiences by Q naught at this point. So for that you have to apply Coulomb's law. So F is equal to 1 by 4 by epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square, and you see R cap is the direction of F, because it will push this test charge because both are positive. So this test charge experiences a force along F, okay, away from the source charge. You can see this direction. So R cap, you see the direction of R cap, this direction. This is the direction of R cap. So F is equal to 1 by 4 by epsilon naught Q naught by R square R cap. So you have got the expression for force. So next is to calculate the electric field. So how will you calculate the electric field? For that you have to find the force experiences per unit charge. That means here it is F by Q naught. So you can see here electric field E is equal to F by Q naught is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. So R cap. So electric field, you can see direction of electric field is similar to the direction of force that we have already discussed. Direction of electric field is along the direction of force. This is the direction of force also. This is the direction of electric field also. That means from this source charge, as you know, it is spherically symmetric. Now electric field lines will be radially outward, like this, radially outward. Just imagine a sphere here, and if you consider the source charge to be at the center of the sphere, so all the electric field lines are radially outward because it is a positive charge. Now if you consider this point, at this point P, definitely the electric field line will go like this, is radially outward like this. So direction of electric field line is similar to the direction of force experiences by Q naught. So the final expression is E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. Fine. So it is 1 by R square variation. So keeping equation, you can see E is proportional to 1 by R square. So if keeping that charge same, if you increase the distance, if you increase the distance by 2 times, electric field decreases by 4 times. So as you go away from the source charge, electric field decreases, but it extends up to infinity. The point should be very clear. It extends up to infinity. It may decrease, but it extends up to infinity. That is why it has to be continuous. Electric field lines have to be continuous. Next is electric field due to a system of point charges. Now see the diagram here. Here we are considering uh, two charges, Q1 and Q2. Fine. We are considering Q1 and Q2, and because of these two charges we want to find electric field at this point P. Say example, you want to find electric field at this point P. So for that, what we have to find, we have to you have to put a test charge at this point, and here the test charge is Q naught, and we have to see the amount of force experiences by Q naught. That is a measure of electric field at this point. That is fine, but what is the net direction of electric field? What is the net direction of electric field at this point? So for that you have to see, this is Q1, this is Q naught. So what is the direction of force experiences by Q naught due to Q1 is this. Similarly, this is the direction of electric field also, which we have already learned. Similarly, due to charge Q2, you can see this charge Q2 at this point, electric field direction will be like this. That means this test charge experiences force along this direction. Fine. As well as this is the direction of E2 also, direction of electric field also. This electric field of, okay, electric field E2, this is electric field E1, okay, electric field E1. This is the direction of electric field due to this charge Q2 through this point P. This is the direction of electric field line through this point P due to this Q1. Fine. So if you place a charge here Q naught, it experiences force along this direction due to this Q2, and along this direction due to Q1. Now you have got two directions of electric field, E1 and E2. So you have already learned parallelogram law of vector addition. Electric field is a vector. So you complete the parallelogram, draw the diagonal, and then you will get the direction of resultant vector. So the diagonal gives you the direction of resultant vector. So E1 plus E2 you can see. So this is the net direction of electric field due to due to these two charges Q1 and Q2. And you have already learned how to calculate the net electric field by using superposition principle. Fine. So you can see here F1. What is F1? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q naught R 1p square R1p cap. You can see the direction. Similarly E2 F1. After getting F1 you can find E1 F1 by Q naught is this. Similarly you can find E2 and then you can find the net electric field. So net electric field will be is equal to E1 plus E2. Here you can generalize it for n charges, so is equal to E1 plus E2 plus En. There may be more charges, so you can see this expression. I think it is clear to you. This diagram was for two charges, but you can generalize it for n number of charges. Okay, this diagram is for two charges, but you can generalize it for n charges. So you can calculate the direction of electric field, resultant electric field, as well as you can calculate the magnitude of electric field, total magnetic field, by using superposition principle. Now you can see this diagram. Here you can see the number of charges, how many charges are here: Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. Fine. Now let us consider this point P at which you want to find the direction of electric field due to all these four charges. Now let us see one by one. Due to Q1, the direction of electric field will be like this, okay, through that point P. Due to Q2, direction of electric field will be like this through that point P. Similarly, due to Q3, it is E3. Due to Q4, it is E4. Now you have got four electric fields: E1, E2, E3 and E4. Now what you have to find? First, let us see the direction of resultant electric field of E1 and E2. Now you see, this is E1, this is E2. Let us complete the parallelogram, draw the diagonal. So this is the resultant. E1 plus E2 is the resultant electric field of E1 and E2. Fine. So let us take this as one vector, E1 and E2. Then let us take this E3. So E3, one vector, E1 plus E2, the other vector. So complete the parallelogram, draw the diagonal. That gives you the resultant as E1 plus E2 plus E3. That means E1 plus E2 plus E3 is the resultant electric field of E3 and E1 plus E2. Similarly, you take this as one vector, E1 plus E2 plus E3 as one vector, and E4 you can consider the second vector. Then complete the parallelogram, draw the diagonal. So E1 plus E2 plus E3 plus E4 is the resultant of all this is the resultant of E4 and E1 plus E2 plus E3. That means this is the net direction of electric field. This is the resultant electric field of all these four. Fine. So you can find the direction of net electric field also, and by applying the superposition principle and using the expression for electric field at a point due to a point charge, you can calculate the magnitude also. In this diagram also you can understand E1 electric field at this point P due to Q1, that is E1, plus electric field at this point P due to Q2, that is E2, plus electric field at this point due to Q3, that is E3, plus electric field at this point due to Q4, that is E4. So E is equal to E1 plus E2 plus E3 plus E4. That gives you the magnitude, and this vector diagram, you can see, it helps us to find the direction of net electric field. Fine. Okay, so this is all about for today. Please revise this part. Next class we'll see some problems on this. Thank you very much.